Now, in 10 minutes, I shall try to leave you with a slight impression of what is bioeconomy within Central Denmark region. As introduced by Jukka, I'm Anne-Mette Langvad. I'm the project manager of the Bioeconomy initiative in our region. And as I have only 10 minutes of time, I'll begin with reasoning. Why do we have such an initiative within the field of bioeconomy? And then I go on to exemplify to you what is included in this initiative, both in terms of past examples and what we're doing presently. And then I'll take you into the, what do you call that, the kind of the engine on how we actually try to work with these issues, and then hopefully you also take an interest in what we experience as our major challenges and see as opportunities right now. So why bioeconomy within Central Denmark region? Well, basically it's due to our industrial infrastructure, because as you see in terms of, I just need the pointer, no, I can't do that. No, I can't use the pointer from here. In terms of biomass resources and biomass production, Central Denmark region is home to 1/3 of all Danish plant production and 1/3 of all Danish livestock production. So that's something, Denmark being an agricultural country. Also, for good and for worse, our coastal waters are quite nutrient rich. Due to, again, intensive agriculture and some point source solution for pollution from aquaculture and other sources. So that makes our coastal waters suitable for blue mussel production and macroalgae production as well. In terms of sub-suppliers, Central Denmark region is home to 80%, together with South Denmark region, of the producers of agricultural machinery for the production and for the processing industry. Also in terms of processing and conversion, we have the majority of the Danish biogas technology, and we are home to 40% of a relatively large Danish feeding industry, in terms of workplaces, that is. And then, in a food respect, 40% of Danish exports of food comes from Central Denmark region. And if we go on to see the knowledge infrastructure, again, we are home to the National Cluster Organization, organizing companies relating to biomass issues, and we are home to the University of Aarhus. The University of Aarhus is quite renowned for its ability to reduce environmental impacts while simultaneously maximizing yields. Also, they have some very fine test facilities and pilot plants within the bioeconomy to be used in collaboration with the private industry. So altogether, this picture points towards a bioeconomy profile of ours with the commodities of biofertilizer, biofuels, and by that I mean biofuels in a broad sense, both electricity, heating, and transportation fuels. And then for the feed and food ingredients, basically. Yeah. Well, as a region, we've been investing in bioeconomy for the past 10 years. And if you see at the lower end of this value pyramid, we have put quite a lot of attention to the production of biogas, also identifying biogas potential in different kinds of residuals, meadow grass, or in this case also macroalgae. And a bit exotic example, we have also been doing some experiments with public procurement on a biodiesel based on pigs' carcasses or self-dyed pigs. But if you see then at the higher end of the value pyramid, I could mention some projects on Pistato using the wastewater from relatively large potato starch production within the region to produce protein. And also even perhaps a bit more exotic, I could mention a project of ours extracting a plant-based estrogen from clover grass. This estrogen is used, and it's on the market today, to treat the symptoms for female menopause. And we're also doing experiments to convert it into, to refine it further into a medication for osteoporosis. So these are some of the examples. But then again, in the past, these are ongoing or finished projects, we have not been systemically integrated across the value pyramid. We have not made as much as we possibly could from one singular biomass. We have not been as resource productive as we possibly could. So that's why in 2016 to 18, our present program period, we would like to think that we could actually become a bit more systematic and a bit more resource productive. And in order to become that, we've selected only a few biomasses to work with, and that will be unrecovered straw, grass biomass, blue mussel, macroalgae or seaweed, and then slurry, or that's in reality biogas. And then, even if our intention is to spur product development in cascades, we have still sort of selected a few bulk commodities to act as drivers for our envisioned development. And then again, not surprisingly, these commodities will be animal feed, protein feed, it will be biofuels, and it will be food ingredients. Now, we also have some principles. So any project that we initiate should be sustainable. Sustainable in an environmental sense, so we should restore and improve our local resource base, but also sustainable in an economic sense, so that we will try to exploit as much as possible our existing infrastructure and to develop upon that. And we would also try to enhance synergies between the companies that are engaging in bioeconomy, sort of creating industrial symbiosis wherever we can. Let's see. Yeah. So now I'll go down to the practice part of how we actually work this. Well, first of all, we need a politically communicable vision. And if I base my example, which I do, on protein feed as a bulk commodity based on grass, our political vision is that Denmark should become self-sufficient with protein feed for livestock. Now, that is actually a powerful political vision, because if we realize it, it will actually be visible on Danish net exports due to the fact that we import very much soybean each year. Also, besides lifting the net export aspect of this, in realizing such an objective, we will actually be able to also act on our principles, because growing grass, changing cropping systems will improve water quality, it will reduce nitrate leaching. And we could say that we would be able to stimulate an innovative product development within our large agro industry, and that's really an industry in need of more knowledge-based innovation in order for us to be able to continue to compete with Germany and the Netherlands. And then we would strengthen the revenue base also for the farmers, making them able to sell more fractions of, in this case, the grass biomass. And who does not want to try to help a stressed European agriculture? Then we will have to push a bit upon a relative conservative feeding industry of ours. And we would also, you see some of our big companies are, for instance, let's take Arla, and we could stimulate these already very innovative companies with feed ingredients, for instance, additives, plant-based additives to the milk production. This is something that they're actually working with right now. Okay, thinking along these lines, this is the kind of diagramming that we sort of come up with. And you're, of course, not intended to even, is it that? This. You're not intended to capture what is in this, this diagram, only that this is a value chain complex. So we squeeze out, I'll just take this slide then because this is the most important. We take the dark green panel down here is the main value chain. It is the value chain for protein feed as a bulk commodity. Then the gray panels is residual from the protein production and products that you can make from them. And then you see our regional rationale above, how we're going to move different important industries of ours in that respect. Yeah, well. So challenges and opportunities, you have to wait about them. Conclusions, perhaps you can already configure that. And then I really need to say that we produced some enlarged business cards. So please, if you took an interest, come and contact me and you can have some of these.